welcome to the channel. So yesterday, Nature published an article called "Stop the Coronavirus Stigma Now." Basically what they're saying is everybody should stop discrimination against Asians, especially Chinese, because it raised 2 points. First, a lot of Chinese students who study abroad in Western society, not only US but also England and other states, they're very concerned about political and health condition and environment in these countries against the coronavirus. So if they don't stop discrimination and they don't stop being slow on reactions and policies against the pandemic, this Chinese students or Asian student will probably reconsider whether they should go back and study or not. And this will heavily influence the education sector in following countries, basically developed countries. And second reason, a lot of scholars, Asian scholars, they have very latest research regarding the fight of coronavirus, studies on the proteins instead of study on the antibodies, inhibitors, drug carriers, stuff like that. If you don't stop discrimination against them, they'll face challenge on posting their journals and releasing their data, which is not good for everybody that is planning to do research on coronavirus and fight the pandemic. And more importantly, Nature Journal officially apologized in this article, saying they would take responsibility and apologize for what's so-called being associating the virus with Wuhan and with China in their news coverage. Although, after seeing the reasons, they gave us 2 reasons about one, the Asian students not going back to their country, possible contributions by latest data got in Asian scientists, especially Chinese scientists. I feel like this apology itself is kind of suspiciously utilitarian, but since it's a fairly genuine apology, me as a normal Chinese, I'll buy that. Okay, that was the first article published on that volume, right? Second article was published by this gentleman called Stefan Burley. You can see a screenshot here. First blank. Basically, this article, he was calling for sharing data across borders. And he's saying after 5 weeks of the coronavirus in China, scientists been uploading the first 3D model of protein from the virus. Open access, free, no copyright. Right, that's a good thing. It's all scientific. Doing comparison with what he did back then in 2003, he was working at a company called SGX, and they uploaded the first SARS virus protein, the enzyme. The protease basically is an enzyme like making it a drug target, and decision surprised competitors because nobody was expecting such a profitable thing that they would actually share it to make it open access and benefiting the whole humankind. So it's like, okay, so Nature has been apologizing, even it seems, a little bit utilitarian. Nature, I know it's British-based, British fund. So what about American? What about Science? It's the 2 best comprehensive scientific journal. So I checked Science, I find this article. Okay, so this article called G20 Leaders Must Answer to COVID-19 published on April 10th? It's April 9th right now. I don't get it. It's like Back to the Future or something. Anyways, let's just assume I'm in the future right now. Yeah, anyways. So it's published by Miss Carolyn Atkinson, and she is a very big name, former U.S. Deputy National Security Advisor. Ooh, blow away, right? Cool. In this 700 words article I already read through, talk about a lot of stuff like calling for international collaborations and cooperation stuff. I found multiple biased claims and multiple double standards. That's basically the main reason why I make this video and try to talk in English, try to articulate and explain in my view to you guys how a normal Chinese guy view what you think. Let just science be science. There's no politics in that, and how the actual thing is happening in your top journal. Okay, so first, in China, after a dangerous period of denial, I just barely started reading this article and I found this double standard here. It's just everywhere, just name it, just pick it from the beach, it's everywhere, right? So how that works, I don't think any of you would argue with me that today is not April 9th, right? Even though the publication date according to this paper is published in the future, April 10th, right? Chinese government released the first-hand information on how they find this unknown virus on January 8th. Judging on date today, at least we got 100-something days for American dues and American government to react and make any essential possible preparation for the transmit of coronavirus to the US. Isn't that right? So if you were making this, I'm not even mentioning how absurd this accuses that China after a dangerous period of denial. So if we are making a dangerous period of denial, you have more time than us and you have more cases than anybody on this planet right now. How come your denial is not dangerous? Judging on how President and Vice President Donald Trump and Mike Pence has been saying like, oh, nobody need to wear any kind of mask and stuff like that. Don't panic, go to work. How come you didn't deny? Okay, second. Governments must come together, coordinate borders, global action, reinforce impact of economic and financial measures, forward out this crisis beyond force of next one. Okay, this reminds me of my idol, famous talk show host Louis C.K. One of his shows called Of Course, but Maybe. It's a typical example of what is called saying something, doing something else. Right? Of course, everybody should come together, forge out economic and financial measures, and everybody get rich, nobody get hurt. Absolutely right. I got like zero disagreement on that. But maybe. On March 26, Trump government claimed a 25% tariff on 34 billion worth Chinese goods. Of course, everybody should stick together and forge out a way out of this pandemic and crisis. And beyond forced off next one. Of course. But maybe we can just do something else. At the same time we think and we call for coordination, border, global action, stuff like that, maybe we can just add some more tariffs. Double standard. Third, global financial crisis of 2008. Coordinated budget stimulus, easy monetary policy, fundings for countries in trouble. Let's just take a second and appreciate how they use plural form here. Okay, countries. Well, according to CNN news, like it's basically this bank called Lehman Brothers got bankrupt, directly lead to the whole crisis, which is an American company in the USA. Starting from the US, it's spreading to the whole world. But somehow it became a global financial crisis. And it's the G20 that needs to provide emergency funding for countries in trouble. Correct me if it's wrong. That's not even correcting me, right? It's correcting CNN, although like according to President Trump, it's fake news. But I mean, like, they blame Lehman Brothers and blame Wall Street. What you want me to say is a foreigner, right? Whatever. But I got this data from FRS, Federal Reserve System, which is, I mean, I don't think you guys can argue FRS data are fake or stuff, right? FRS gave banks about $8,000 billion, increasing banker capitals nearly 40%, and multiple rounds of QE, which is what they do right now, writing infinitive QEs, and put around 20 to 25 inflation rate on every country on this planet. Yeah, it seems like it's a good way to provide emergency funding for countries in trouble, right? While originated from the US and you just apply this inflation on everybody to share your burden and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that in a political way, but just think about that, how the wording here, provide emergency fundings for countries in trouble. Wow. Well, actually, you started everything. Isn't that double standard? Fourth. Ahead of 2015 Paris Agreement. Global response to climate change. Climate change. Big talk. Okay, so reading this article is kind of increasing my ability to read through the lines and find hidden information in these words. It's kind of transforming me to Detective Sherlock Holmes in a way. So I would probably appreciate it send like a sank note or something to Miss Carolyn Atkinson for this rapid increase of my detective skill after finishing this episode, right? So how that works, it just so if you're not interested in politics, in 2017, right, on June the 1st, President Donald Trump declared quit the Paris Agreement, which basically he says, I quote, staying in the organization would undermine US economy and put us at a permanent disadvantage. Okay, and judging on what he think, everything should be American first instead of like a humankind first or stuff like that. He just quit. So Miss Atkinson is not mentioning what happens after 2015, right? Ahead of 2015, we got an agreement. After that, we quit. But right now, like you guys have to coordinate and make cooperations or whatever to save the world and stuff. And we just go because we stay. According to President, undermine our economy and permanent disadvantage. Not mentioning like how much pollution the U.S. already did to the planet during your industrialization, right? Don't talk like, oh, we never pollute, we never produce any like global warming gas and stuff like that. You guys eat most steak and drink most milk on this planet, more than anybody. And I'm just assuming that you don't know that, right? Considering like how the forests and birds produced by U.S. domestic animals that you guys consume, whether you eat their meat or drink their milk or use their leather, stuff like that, is more than some countries' domestic pollution of the gas itself by humankind. I couldn't find a correct word like to approach what I think this kind of action, like saying everybody else should be responsible for a global response to climate change and the US just quit the Paris Agreement. You can still say that in this article, be like, oh, everybody is responsible for that, while you just quit the agreement. Right? What's the word? It's just like, oh, hypocritical.
How dare you!
Fifth, the G20 must also support emergency and longer-term fundings respond to COVID-19. Only happen at sufficient scale if governments of the major countries agree. It's another typical example of saying something and doing something else. Right? Of course, but maybe. I got examples to back me up, right? First thing first, Hans, Germany. 200,000 German police ordered N95 masks was diverted to US in Thailand, and according to German official in police department, this is an act of modern piracy. Second one, French medical supply reserved at Shanghai airport was bought on the wrong way of the airport by Americans, 3 times more money. Well, what they say is before the goods reach your hand, like it's buyable, basically. I don't know if it's a word, but it's basically buyable, right? I'm not considering like how I just mentioned, like in 2008, you guys just printed so much money and that raised 20% of the price, globally inflation, right? Well, it's just like I couldn't think of a more double standard thing that you can print money infinitively as your wish. And make this kind of claim that, oh, there's a free market trail or something, why we can just punish Huawei or other companies that so-called harm US domestic national security. Okay, third one, Brazil. There are a bunch of medical supply right now sitting in Miami that was bought by Brazil government from China and waiting for a plane to deliver that to Brazil. And according to US federal government, it takes at least 30 days for expectation for them to deliver this thing to Brazil, while there are at least 20 planes flying around for US to buy the same medical supply from China every day. Well, I think Brazil, comparing to US or other Western developed countries, is a kind of poor country, right? Judging on what you say, poor countries with limited resources respond to COVID-19. But you might argue that Brazil is not poor enough, it's a big country, it's rich, everybody is cool, it's okay to respond there or delay or stop or seize their medical supplies, right? So what about other countries like, for example, Barbados? It's the first time I actually know this country. Bear with me if I'm my geography or I'm bad as this kind of said that I don't know about Barbados. But what I know is this whole country has only 46 ventilators. There is a kind gentleman, a philanthropist, that donated 20 ventilators to Barbados government. That this medical supply is right now seized by US government. And I just don't quite get it. Like the whole country has only 46 and you're seizing their 20 ventilators. 20 ventilators, for God's sake. Like, this is totally beyond my words. If you're judging on humanity side or on ethical perspective, this small country with 300k people are buying 20 and you're seizing them. Like, what the is actually happening? Well, I just don't get it. But judging on Bible, there is a line called, where hath to him told him to spare, who has not, even what he has will be taken away. I kind of understand like how that works. But whatever stuff you guys are doing right now, all this conflict transmitting against China, or public opinion focused guidance, right? Or seizing goods globally like Germany, France, Brazil, even Barbados, even domestic states. These will simply not work. Will not do any good to fight against coronavirus. Saying utilitarianly, not help save any American lives. For those who stay in hospital right now, suffering from suffocation, calling for help, this is not what you guys should do to save them. Get together, do your job, stop blaming others, and stop writing this kind of articles with G20 leaders, stuff like global warming and stuff, while you actually quit the agreement 5 years ago. I really hope all those Americans sick right now recover soon, and I really want to take this opportunity to thank and pay my personal high tribute to those doctors and nurses with limited protective gear and still fighting at the front line. If you don't know, like some of them are wearing garbage bags right now to protect themselves, and some couldn't get a mask replacement for like several days. You are a true hero.
Hear the war.